the more they see it as an opportunity, because like it is, it's very male dominant. So back when I was younger, I would never even thought women did this.
I feel like the ladder's definitely been pulled up behind me, and I feel like I've got to personally work really hard to try and give back those opportunities. But it does feel like the funding's kind of dried up a bit, and we need to spend a bit more energy to make those things happen for the next generation.
You don't need to have everything figured out. If you're willing to learn, work hard and back yourself, opportunities will come.
Welcome to Manufacturing Tech Australia with Shane Williams and Paul Mason, where they share the latest manufacturing and tech news and explore innovative solutions to help you improve your business.
But before we kick off the show, a big thanks to our season sponsors, Acacia Consulting Services, supporting manufacturers with modern ERP solutions that connect the shop floor, supply chain and business systems. If you want to reach out to Acacia, you can phone them on 03 8560 5220 to book your complimentary business improvement session. And now, on with the show.
Welcome everyone to Manufacturing Tech Australia. Thanks for joining us again today. We've got Rochelle Turner and Steph Piper, massive advocates for manufacturing in Queensland. Today we're going to talk all about what it's like to get women into manufacturing and what are some of those challenges around that. So we might kick straight into the show. Steph and Rochelle, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
How's things, Steph?
So my day job is working at the little library makerspace at the University of Southern Queensland in Toowoomba, pretty much helping students out with all of these manufacturing skills all day. So they come in with not just projects for their assignments, but fun projects as well. And I do my best to help them, whether it's a cosplay project. Probably the biggest project someone's done in here is a full Master Chief cosplay. And I get all kinds of weird and wonderful projects that come through the door. So just doing my best, my CAD and my electronics kind of skills. And I teach a lot of workshops in here too.
Wow, you get paid for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I really love my job.
Sounds fun. Cool. What about you, Rochelle? What have you been working on?
I'm a third year sheet metal apprentice, so pretty much I work with food grade appliances. So currently I'm in the hood exhaust section. So yeah, over the years I've moved throughout the factory and tried different sections.
Wow, Shane and I were at Food Pro last week and I've never seen so much stainless steel in my life.
Yes, a lot of stainless.
The food industry is massive here, right? So you guys must be keeping pretty busy.
Oh, absolutely. We do 11-hour days at the moment. So yeah, big days and yeah, very fast paced.
Wow. Have you got much automation in there?
Yes, we got a lot of machinery at the moment. We're transitioning into that, so yeah, still very much hands-on.
And out of curiosity, when you're doing a sheet metal apprenticeship, does that get you into like stainless welding, polishing, all that sort of stuff?
Yes, so that's pretty much everything I do at the moment.
One of the reasons we wanted to get together today was talk a little bit about women in the manufacturing space, and so I'm curious what sort of percentages of youngsters coming through that are having a bent towards engineering and manufacturing do you think are female?
Yeah, I think some of the engineering students, I've seen more women in engineering coming through than I've ever seen before more recently. So that's really cool to see.
What about you, Rochelle?
Yeah, slowly over the years. I've been here for 5 years. There was a couple of women here before me, but over the last few years we're seeing more and more come through.
In terms of percentages coming through, are we talking 10, 20, 50?
I'd say 10% at the moment. Right.
Yeah.
I'm curious, if you're only seeing that sort of sub 10% participation and you've got a daughter yourself and you're trying to expose to this sort of industry, where do you think we're falling over in terms of that pipeline? Is it all the way back in school, or is it just applications and apprenticeships too hard to get, or what do you reckon?
I think they don't see many women in these industries. And I think the more we get ourselves out there, the more they see it as an opportunity, because like it is, it's very male dominant. So back when I was younger, I would never even thought women did this.
You reckon that's still the case, or is it getting better?
I think it's slowly getting better because, yeah, like even when I go to TAFE, you see more women in trades, and which is great to see. I've always kind of had that hands-on wanting to do things with my hands, so looking into trades was always my thing. I just never knew where to start, to be honest.
I guess, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but I feel like the greater population sees manufacturing as dirty, dark and dangerous, and some industry that I don't want to necessarily be in. You're thinking about stuff from the 1900s and that kind of thing. Maybe tell us a bit about what you guys are seeing in manufacturing right now and why it's interesting for people to get involved in it.
For me, what I'm seeing is, especially in the makerspaces sector, There's a lot of pretty cool new toys coming out, which look really fun and exciting to use, especially along the UV printing kind of route, where not only can you do 3D printing and 2D printing, but you can also just put in pretty much any object you want, and it does a full color UV print on whatever that object is. And yeah, I feel like there's a lot of exciting, I think, leaps from there, where obviously you're going to have combination UV printing 3D printers coming out, full color 3D printing at the desktop level. There's a lot of really cool tech coming up.
Yeah, 3D printing is really interesting right now. If I can throw in like an example there, Andromeda here in Melbourne, 3D printing their Abby robot in their own factory. And those kind of technologies, that we're not just seeing it as a prototyping tool now, we're seeing it actually in low volume niche manufacturing, the ability to print so many different materials and metals and all that kind of thing. So important. So I think, yeah, the tech side of things makes it really interesting to be in manufacturing.
It feels like it's just made such huge leaps and bounds recently, especially with the new Bamboo branded machines that has just lifted the entire industry's standards up. It's felt like, yeah, probably one of my favourite projects that I show people when they ask me about it is I have a 3D printed wallet that I use every day.
Nice. Rochelle, what are you seeing in terms of manufacturing, and why is it a good time to be involved right now?
Oh, just the innovation of it all. For me, I love being able to make something from scratch and being able to see it out into the world. It's crazy to think, how much we're creating and how much that we use that in everyday life.
So, Rochelle, what made you interested in doing a trade like that?
Funny enough, I actually wanted to be a chippy.
Okay.
Being a single mum, a stay-at-home mum, I obviously wanted to change my life. My dad actually worked in IT, so at the time I'd signed up for a construction course, but I had 2 months to wait. So I kind of wanted something to put on my resume to say I'd done some sort of work experience. So Dad got me in just to do some labour work. And yeah, on my last day of the work experience, they offered me full-time work, which over that 2 months, I just grew to love it more and more. And then about a year and a half after I started, they offered me an apprenticeship, and yeah, I've just been focused on getting that done because I just find it incredible. Like being able to make something from a flat piece of sheet and be able to build something is extremely satisfying.
That's super cool. So you got sucked into manufacturing. It wasn't your intention.
Yeah, it wasn't in the intention, but couldn't explain how much it's changed everything. And I've got a 15-year-old daughter. I even had her come and do work experience here not that long ago, just to show her the opportunities that you could come from manufacturing.
And it's pretty broad too, right? Regardless of what kind of thing you want to do in your career, there's pretty much a slot right there. You could slot into a manufacturing business too.
Yeah.
This is a really bad example, but I'm a young woman your daughter's age in school. Make the pitch for me. What's the case?
Okay. No matter where you are in life, you don't need to have everything figured out. If you're willing to learn, work hard and back yourself, opportunities will come. Becoming a sheet metal apprentice has given me a career I love, confidence I never knew I had, and the chance to create a better future for myself and, make something of myself. That was always my thing over the last few years. I just wanted to be able to make something of yourself, and being in an industry like this is, you can do it. You just need to have that drive.
I'm curious, Rochelle, because I spent a bit of time in warehouses when I was early in sort of engineering career, and I felt like it was always the people that made me want to go to work, right? Because obviously the fun projects and stuff like that, but I feel like that's like the culture is so important, and building the right culture for people to want to come in every day. Is that kind of what it's like for you?
Absolutely. You have your good days, you have your bad days. That's life. Having good people around you that support you, push you, that makes a world of a difference. If people didn't accept me when I came, who knows where I'd be now. It's all about the culture. I'm always the type of person that will be singing, dancing while I'm working, just trying to make people laugh, and I think that makes people's day. You got to have fun while you're doing it too.
Maybe if we jump across to you, Steph, I want to hear about this makerspace stuff. So you talked about sort of cosplay examples and things like that. How do you think, is that encouraging people to get into manufacturing as such, or into sort of engineering, when they're seeing, I can actually build and design and make this stuff? Or do you think young kids don't even really necessarily think about it that way?
Yeah, I think the ability for those students to come in here and do projects that are not just for their assignments and for research, to do personal projects is so important. If you want people to get in and have a go, they've got to be working on something that they're really passionate about. Whatever that project is, whether it's relevant or not, it's still a great portfolio example. So I think, whatever they're building in here, it's going to be great for whatever they're going to be doing in future. So I think yesterday, probably one of my favourite projects a student was working on is I've got a student who's really keen on his tractors. He loves driving his tractor at the home farm. He loves playing Farm Simulator and driving the tractor on the computer. He's trying to build like a full simulator kind of setup so that it looks like the internal cab of a tractor in front of his computer. It's a pretty complex project, but he's just so keen. He loves it so much. And I can see he's really going to make something cool out of it. Going back to the culture conversation there as well. I think that's so important, especially not just modelling good behaviour, but also pulling up poor behaviour when it's seen. That it's probably one of the quickest ways to have a toxic work environment where obviously you're going to lose your ladies, but also a lot of the men as well. If that behaviour is not pulled up, not just by the bosses, but by the people around you, that's where things can go downhill pretty quickly. And I feel like I've seen it firsthand a few times with community-run volunteer groups that I've been part of. And there's a few different things out there, but obviously the bystander training is pretty awesome. But also I really love the radical candor method as well, which is a whole YouTube video. But it talks about how you can really thoughtfully and lovingly kind of pull up bad behaviour for people and pull them aside and say, hey, look, thought that was a bit rough. And, I think we'd be doing a lot better if we were doing it this way. So just giving people that feedback.
So not jumping across the shop floor and snotting someone when they piss you off.
Just pulling them aside and just having a chat, keeping it lighthearted, keeping it cheerful and kind of letting them know that it's not okay.
Yeah. People tend to keep going if you don't say anything. You pull people up and you just got to do it in a nice way, in a mature way, I think.
Do you think women, before they go into these kind of careers, that there's already the fear that's going to be what it's like in the workplace?
It was very daunting, I know, for me. You do see it occasionally, but I feel like over time it's getting a lot better, and not just men, but people in general are respecting more women coming in, and because we bring something else to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Mums especially have this way of managing things and organising things that it feels like it's a superpower in some ways. And I feel like if you get enough mums in the workforce doing that kind of thing in manufacturing, it's so much more efficient and organised industry, I think.
Yeah, sometimes if you're one of the few women in the workplace, there's an assumption that you might be the one who's copying all of the bad behaviour. And I feel like there's obviously an onus that you need to be the one to pull it up if you're the one experiencing it, which is a lot of energy to deal with all that stuff. And if it can be shared amongst everyone to pull up that behaviour, I think that's where you've got an amazing workplace to work for.
What do you think needs to change in the industry to really get more women in manufacturing? Is it keep building that culture? Is it get enough women in there that there's mentors and things that can look after people as they come through? What are some of the game changers you think that could really change the dial a bit?
I think making women know that they have the support. I know for me, when the young girls have come in, they've used me as a mentor and being able to have someone to talk to. That's the biggest thing. When I started, I never really had anyone to talk to. And I feel like I would have benefited a lot from that, especially it being so daunting and scary at the time, where I've been the mum. I find that they come to me and when they've got issues or they're not feeling right about something, and it's helped them push through.
Sounds like there's a Mums in Manufacturing program about to start, I reckon.
I reckon the whole concept of mentorship is both ways, right? It's not just protecting youngsters from, let's call it, the nefarious side of the workplace, which could be outside of manufacturing as well, right? But there's equally the how do we encourage, how do we support, how do we build capability? What have you guys leaned on, or what's available for folks who are thinking about this in terms of support, mentorship, etc.?
MSQ's been huge. Starting to work with MSQ, I never realised how much they offered, even just the mentorship alone. I was paired up with someone that, really helped me, and that we've, even after our little 6 months had ended, we still keep in contact all the time, even though I've become that mentor now. But they're still having that. Has been amazing.
I feel like there's not enough mentors around, or not that I was around 100 years ago, but it seems like there was a lot more hands-on training, mentorship, apprenticeships kind of thing than there is right now. It seems like people are kind of thrown in the deep end in a lot of cases and just like, off you go, get started.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that too. Especially a lot of the opportunities that I feel like I was given. Like I managed to get on one of those awesome Silicon Valley trips that was sponsored by government, and a Shenzhen trip as well to China. Like all of these different opportunities, which is just, supercharged what I've been able to do. I feel like the ladder's definitely been pulled up behind me, and I feel like I've got to personally work really hard to try and give back those opportunities. But it does feel like the funding's kind of dried up a bit, and we need to spend a bit more energy to make those things happen for the next generation.
Yeah, for sure. I do feel like, and I know I mentioned this off the call, that it feels like Queensland's got so much momentum in manufacturing at the moment. They had the AMW show. There's still the manufacturing grants available. I don't think there's any other states that have got manufacturing grants trying to beef up the industry. There seems to be a lot going into training and women in manufacturing and other programs. But is there any other sort of programs or anything that come to mind people can benefit from in Queensland or outside?
I think you've covered it quite well, to be honest. Like, Manufacturing Skills Queensland is doing so much. They seem to have just a massive amount of things they're getting up to. So, it's always worth checking out their website and keeping an eye on their latest.
Hey, Steph, you were just talking about giving back and your experience of having all this opportunity and the ladder being pulled up behind, and then your philosophy around taking on that. Is that where Maker Queen comes in? What's that about?
Yeah, so Maker Queen's my side business. Out of that, I try and make electronics kits that are a lot more different than the ones you might find down at JCar. So if you're trying to learn those skills, these kits can help you make something that you really love what the finished product is. Like this one here is one it's got a couple of different solder mask colours on it. So it's more designed to look like an enamelled pin rather than like an actual circuit board. So I've been trying to make more stuff like that. Like all of my products and all my projects that I do really resonate around this core concept of just making it easier for people to get in and take that first step and try to learn, because I know I get so many people in the makerspace here that are like, they come in, they see all the cool stuff and they're like, oh, I could never. It's too much for me, it's too technical, I could never do it. So you feel like this little tiny guy next to this big set of stairs and you could never take that first step. But if you shrink it down a bit and make it a bit more fun, more exciting, that's kind of, where all my projects end up heading.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's a company down here in the education space and they've started making little kits for battle bots, to just like mini ones, like to get people interested in building their own little battle bots and trying it out. Good fun stuff.
Hey, Rochelle, at the risk of sounding creepy, we did some stalking and kind of noticed that you've got a fair following sort of documenting your journey. I'm genuinely curious as the outsider looking in, has that social activity pulled people into your orbit and into manufacturing?
I believe so. This year alone, since starting manufacturing with the influencer program, I'm hoping to hit more kids. I don't feel like I've hit too many kids just yet, but I'm still working on it. I've actually been in contact with a couple of schools that wouldn't mind me coming out and having a chat. My daughter's my biggest advocate, trying to tell all her friends at school to definitely go down this path and show them what I've been able to achieve. So we're getting there.
I think you're doing well to have your daughter as your advocate. As far as I know, most of the parents I know, their kids would be like, if mum likes that, no chance.
Absolutely. On the other side of the fence, if I'm a manufacturer and I'm like, how can I attract more women into my business and get that diversity and get a different perspective on things and all the things that they're good at, what could I do as a manufacturer to attract more women into business?
I think social media is key these days, to be honest, to put it out there, put it out into the world that's what we're looking for, is more women. I think just not knowing that this is an avenue you can go down is what stops women, to be honest, and having more advocates for manufacturing.
Yep, I totally agree. If you're trying to hire more people, keep an eye out for those female candidates when they come through and get a sense of whether they would be good for the team or not, and definitely consider just getting them on board.
Work experience is key, encouraging more work experience, just so they can give it a go, see whether it's what they're looking at wanting to do.
I think it's an interesting one. The conversations that I've heard have been, we do the best person for the job and we don't care about anything else. And yet the best person for the job often becomes who's got the most experience. That's only useful if you're indexing for how many days have you turned up, as opposed to what skills are you bringing to the table. And those skills might not necessarily be how many times have I bashed a hammer or used a press or something, right? It might be all the things that you can bring to the table we talked about earlier, right? And that not necessarily the skills that the 65-year-old bloke has.
You build skill throughout your time. I knew nothing. I knew nothing about manufacturing or weld or polish or grind, but over the years, you grow to learn. You don't need to know everything off the bat.
And I think, the diversity thing, it's impactful across a range of different kind of areas, not just women, people that are older and people that are younger, all kinds of different people really make a much richer kind of workplace for problem solving. If you're trying to figure out those complex problems and challenges, the more diverse that you have in your teams, the better that outcome's going to be always.
And if I'm someone out there listening in right now going, this sounds pretty interesting, I want to try this out, like where do they start? Can they just go try get a job in a manufacturing business, or who should they talk to? What would be the first step for people out there listening in?
Calling, asking for work experience. But I'm a massive advocate of work experience because obviously you don't know if you enjoy it until you try it. Not signing your life away, coming in, just learning. I think my daughter just through her school does work experience weeks, and I thought that was an amazing thing because it gets them out there and it gets them to work out what it is that they're wanting to do and try.
Just jumping in there, that I think about my kids and where they're looking for work, and they're like, okay, the restaurant's around the corner or a bookshop down the street. I guess we're not right next to a manufacturing zone, or maybe we are, but people don't think about it as an option,
No.
right? Or a weekend or an after-school job or something. I guess that's a bit trickier, but yeah, it's often not thought of.
Because you can do a lot of traineeship, pre-apprenticeships, where you do a couple of days a week and you go to school a couple of days a week. I found that one of the girls here, she's done that and she's nearly finished her apprenticeship and she loves it. It's allowed her to still learn, but still also start her apprenticeship journey.
Yeah, just even doing fun projects at home where you're building things with your hands. That's all part of the fun too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Teaching my kids to weld as soon as I have a young son, and as soon as, he's old enough, he'll be in the shed with me learning.
I don't know if do you guys have tech schools in Queensland? In Victoria, we have one around the corner here, tech schools that you can go in there and fly drones, and you can 3D print, and you can do media, and you can do electronics, and you can do all sorts of things to teach you. And this is at a high school level to kind of give you a bit of a taste for, am I interested in those spaces? So I don't know, do you have something similar up in Queensland?
Too sure. I know TAFE Queensland, they do a lot. You can do small courses. Even I remember when I was in school, I did my Cert 2 in hairdressing, and that was only 1 day a week. And I would go in and you just learn, and you get your certificate at the end as well.
Yeah, I think in the makerspaces sector, there's been a massive increase in the public library spaces, believe it or not, where you can actually just pop down to your public library down at Ipswich or Springfield or even Gympie in Noosa now. And they've got all of the kind of makerspace stuff that you might expect in there. So like your 3D printers, sometimes even a laser cutter, sewing machines, and you can just get in and start having a go with a hands-on induction from a library staff member straight away.
So they're throwing out the PlayStations, replace them with other toys.
Yeah, and I went and visited the Noosa library recently, and they've got a whole tool library in there too, where you can hire out even power washers, equipment like that, but
cool.
also canoes and bubble machines.
I wonder if they'll loan me a sandblaster. I could use one for a weekend.
Yeah, Brisbane Tool Library is massive, and they have all that kind of gear too, even gazebos and kinds of power tools.
Toy library for grown-ups, I like it. Anything else you guys want to leave the listeners with today, Steph and Rochelle?
Never say no to opportunities because you just don't know where it will end. Yeah, that's been my biggest thing, is just to, say yes to every opportunity.
Yeah, I think one of the most exciting things for me in manufacturing right now is that you are probably potentially the only person that's ever going to come up with the cool idea that you have. And so it's totally worth getting in there and having a go and making it happen, because you might inspire someone else, and good things coming.
And most innovations are built off existing things, right? Tweaking this and that. So yeah. All right, Steph and Rochelle, we are up on time, and it's been awesome chatting with you girls for nearly an hour now. Sorry to keep you guys so long today. But yeah, it's been great chatting, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon, and good luck with everything, and thanks for inspiring the next generation of women in manufacturing.
Thanks so much for having us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in to Manufacturing Tech Australia with Shane and Paul, recorded on the traditional lands of the Bunurong and Wurundjeri people. For more information, jump on the manufacturingtech.au website. Remember to hit the follow button to join us again next time as we continue to explore the intersection of manufacturing and technology.